Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to talk to you about the use of color. To start with, here is a page that might seem in theory like a good idea, but looks pretty terrible. So let me talk through the theory, and then we'll talk about how to fix this. So first of all, when you're looking for colors that match, if you're not great on color, two ways to go are to either go with what's called a monochromatic scheme, which means everything is in the same color. That's great if especially if you're a colorblind student. Monochromatic's the way to go. You're able to see everything. You just have a friend help you find a blue you like, and then you can just work with all the blues. So the other way is complementary colors, which we know, tend to work nicely together. So I chose red and green because I had this nice image of some Chinese food for this local Chinese restaurant page. And I noticed the red and green with the cucumber and the chili pepper were already built right in. That said, I don't think anybody in their right mind thinks this is a good looking page. I got a green banner there, red here, I got a red to green spectrum. And yet this looks terrible. So what went wrong? All right, let me show you the main thing that went wrong here. When you look at a color selector, there's a couple different ways they do this. This is a nice grid here, and it shows you if you just go and grab kind of the reddest red, this is as pure red as you get. This is all the way saturated, and then its value is super far red. It's going to look super saturated, super bright. And in general, those kinds of colors, if you're working with children's toys, things like that, they work. But for anything at all subtle or saturated color like that is going to be overwhelming. And you certainly don't want a background or any large amount of that color on the page. Google's logo famously uses saturated colors. You can see it in the Google Chrome logo, but they would never make an entire page with those colors. It would just be one icon or one element of text. All right, so if you're going to make it into a background, a couple ways to go. You can move this S value down, and that's going to basically move you down into the pink range. We'll show you what that would look like if we fill this with that. All right, that's one option. That's sort of a subtle variant. We could also move it along the other axis, move it down towards a much deeper red, like that, and that also now works. Let me just show you how that looks on the page. Obviously, you wouldn't read text against a background like that, but we have a wrapper built into this style. So now that's readable. That green we still need to do something about, but that red is readable. What I like to do even better is to pull out natural colors using this eyedropper tool. That'll let me find the colors from the chili and color match it. So if let me click on the layer where the chili is. I can click around and find the different colors of chili. And one thing I could do, I'll show you if I flip these now. Let me get one of the bright spots on the chili and one of the dark spots, and I will make a little gradient, a linear gradient. Oopsie daisies. Let's put it in the actual background. Oops, wrong gradient there. Let's go foreground to background. Oh, that was ugly. There we go. And now we can get a feel. If I want it light up top, you can see the lights at the bottom. We may want mostly this to fall into the darker color. So I may do something like that. This might still be a little too light even there. So I'm just going to pull that value down a little bit. Lovely. Go ahead and export that. Replace. And we'll see we now have a nice red and green, red background. Now for the green, I can do something similar. I'm going to grab the natural color of the cucumber, grab the right layer, and we got lots of nice natural greens there. And those are going to feel a whole lot better than these gradients I had before. Oops, let's just do a new. Lovely. Save that out. Beautiful, and this guy will save. And now our page is pretty readable looking. This white text won't work, but if that were still black, this would all look right. So these colors aren't nearly so glaring as the red and green we started with. Much better way to go. You could do a similar thing. Let's say we had, I'll get rid of my images and just imagine the colors. Let's imagine you were working with another set of complementary colors. Let's imagine purple and yellow. Again, if we were to start with, new purple layer. Okay, and then a new yellow layer. All right, and yellow. We'll save all these guys. You will see this looks like a Vikings uniform. It'll look super ugly out of the gate. Nobody wants to read that. That said, if we take our yellow and deepen it into like a nice gold, it's one way to go. Let's see how that looks. Here we go. Let's take our purple and change that. Eggplant. We're going to see this is not, I don't particularly love this combination of colors, but it's certainly much closer to something you could read. We're getting there. That yellow is unfortunate. Let's try to, maybe instead of darkening, I should just make that much paler. That looks better. And we can replace. And you'll see, oopsie daisies, that we've built a pretty, never mind this text, I'll fix that, but this is now a much more legible page. You could also do the whole thing in monochrome. So if I wanted to, instead of going yellow here, I'm going to go back to that same purple, but I'm going to bring saturation way down and the value way up. And I'm going to go with like a lilac there. Okay, and this is again a great option for colorblind students because you'll always be able to see a monochrome scheme and maybe pick the colors that you can already see in pretty well. I had green text here, but ignore that. So there you go. There's some basic tricks to working with color. The key, once again, is that for most colors, if you're going to be the logo colors of like Google, you're right up here, right? So that's bright, tons of attention. But anything that's going to be a background, you're going to want to either slide down that way or up this way. And you can do that with these sliders. You can do it here. You can do it with the triangle. You're moving towards the white or towards the black, and you're going to get a lot more subtle shades. So rather than a bright orange, you're getting some deep browns and golds. Those are the colors you can work with. All right. Hope that's helpful.